Hey guys, welcome to another reading vlog. For you guys, no time has passed, but for me, I have taken at least a week, maybe even 2 weeks off of vlogging. So it's been a while since I've talked to you guys like this, but so I'm starting another reading vlog. It is the 5th of July. It is my birthday month, but my birthday is the 1st, so it already passed. So I took kind of a break during that week, just because it was also a holiday week. And whereas basically it was a little bit of an active week compared to most weeks this year, I also just wanted to have a little bit of a break from vlogging every single day. But so I'm back in full force today, and I am in principle reading 5 books already at the same time, but I probably will be picking up something else tonight. So, yeah, I don't know. My reading mood, I'm not in a slump the way that I was at the beginning of June. I am definitely enjoying reading, but like, it's not like nothing catches my attention. It's just like I am constantly wanting to pick up something new. So whereas I'm really enjoying some of the books that I've been reading, I'm also constantly like, oh, but I also want to start that. Oh, I want to start that. Oh, I want to start that. And so that's kind of the problem at the moment. The reason why I'm picking up a sixth book has nothing to do with that in principle, because I want to game tonight. I've been wanting to do it during my holiday and I didn't find the time to do it. So I want to do it now during this evening, because I'm like, stop putting it off. Stop saying you don't have time to do it because you feel like it's taken away from reading time. I will be doing it, so I'll definitely be doing it tonight. I'll first edit the video, hopefully, and then I'll go into a game. I'm hoping to play some Civilization tonight. But I want to combine it with an audiobook, and that's where the problem comes in, because the books that I'm currently reading at the moment, I don't have an audiobook for them, with the exception of one, but that is an audiobook that I'm listening to in a different language. I'm listening to it in Spanish, and I need my attention for that. I cannot have that go on in the background. It's already a little bit difficult with some English language audiobooks, and so I cannot do the book that I'm reading in Spanish that way, because I'll just not be like, nothing will be coming through into my brain. So I need another audiobook. I am also kind of like, the wise thing to do would be to use this time to listen to Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. So is July going to be the first month in this year in which I don't finish my physical TBR for that I set out, or that I don't finish my, 5 book TBR that I set out at the beginning of the month? I would not be surprised if it turns out that way. Alright guys, enough is enough. I am reading 6 books at the same time, and I think that this is now my goal for this week, is to reduce that number. I need to get that down, need to be reading less. And whenever I finish something this week, I should not be replacing it with something else. So basically, I have the pile here with me. One of them is turned the other way around because it is a secret TBR book. But so basically, I'll take a picture and I'll just put it on the remainder of the screen. So I am reading Periodic Table of Feminism. This is a non-fiction, which is a sort of like overview of people who've had a big role to play in the feminist movement. I have been reading it on and off, but basically it's been off for a very long time, and so I want to be getting a move on within this one, at least within this week. I'm definitely not finishing it because I'm like 50 pages into it and it's over 200 pages, but I would definitely like to get a little bit further into it, like get to the 80 pages point or something like that. Then we have Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. This is the one that is like no shame, because I started it the 1st of July basically, and it is one that is part of a read-along that will end in September. But I am also one day behind on schedule for that one, so basically my goal for that one is by the end of the week I need to be on track with that one again. Then we have Assassin's Quest, which I started yesterday, and the first clip for this vlog. It is one that it can go on the back burner, but on the other hand, I know that tonight I'll want to play some more games, and I'll be listening to that one. So I think it's the one that most likely I'll most easily progress in within this week. And so maybe I should just embrace that. And so we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with that one. Next up is a book that I'm not going to talk to you guys about because it is a TBR tackle book, so it's a book that I'm not talking to you guys about yet. But I am about 70 pages into that. It is like just under 400 pages, I think. I'm not reading it in English or Dutch. I'm reading it in Spanish, and that's also part of the reason why it is a little bit more difficult, because while I know Spanish and I use Spanish on a daily basis for my job, it is also the case that, this type of vocabulary isn't necessarily the vocabulary that I use on a day-to-day basis, and it's got a lot of sort of like very specific vocabulary to it. Then we have the big shame on here, which is Master Artificer by Justin Call, which I started in May, I think. And yeah, I started this end of May when I was in a reading slump, put it down beginning of June because I was like, I'm not in the mood for this book now. My current reading slump is going to destroy my enjoyment of this book, so I put it down. I am now kind of procrastinating on it. I should have actually just put it on my TBR instead of Congo, for example, because it is too big for me to find the time to fit it in between my TBR books. So we'll just have to see. But that one I would be very happy about if I can get like some further 200 pages, for example, into that one. That will land me at like the 500 page mark for that book, which is an over 800 page book. So that would actually be great. And then there's one book that isn't featured because I have an e-arc for it, and that is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, and that is actually my priority read at the moment. It is coming out on the 20th of July. I want to finish it. I mean, I'm also not having difficulties with it. Like saying it like that makes it seem as if it's on a pile of shame or something, but it isn't. I started it like the 2nd or the 3rd or something of July, and I am absolutely loving that one to be at the moment. But so because I'm reading so much different things at the same time, I'm also not making like huge progress to it in the moment neither. But so yeah, that is my priority read. And so basically, if I'm going to be finishing anything off of this list by the end of the week, I'm hoping that it is that book, She Who Became the Sun. So Tuesday evening over, I'm still gonna read a little bit in bed now, but so I have read a few pages, don't even remember how much, like some 10 pages, let's say like that, in Periodic Table of Feminism, and then I caught up to Les Miserables where I needed to be, so some 30 pages in that reads super slowly because I feel like it's like a super tiny font as well, and even with that it's like 1,400 pages, so yeah, that's gonna take me forever, but that's fine. It's supposed to take me forever. It's supposed to take me until middle of September, but so I'm caught up to where I needed to be for that today, so now it's just gonna be a matter of just sticking to it every single day and not just like skipping a day as I did yesterday, because as I said, it kind of is moving relatively slow, and even though I enjoyed this passage that I did now, it does feel like I've been spending hours reading it, where that's not the case. So I think this is definitely one that's better consumed in small portions at a time, at least at this point in the book. And so now I am going to go to bed. I should actually already fall asleep, but I definitely also want to still get in a chapter of She Who Became the Sun. So that's what I'll be doing now. And so that means progress in 3 of the books today. And so hopefully more progress to come tomorrow. Yeah, we'll have to see. Like, I set these goals as if they're super easy to achieve, but they're definitely not easy to achieve. Alright, we're failing this, guys. It is Saturday lunchtime. I have not eaten today and I cannot eat anymore at this point in time because I'm going to a festival. I'm going to a sort of like COVID restricted festival, meaning that, you book a table for four and like the tables are spread at like social distance and then you're like not allowed to leave the table neither, so you order your food and drinks through a app and then it's delivered to your table, so there's no moving around of people. I don't know what they're going to do about like arriving and leaving, because that's always the problem with these sort of like big events during COVID times. You can easily manage these sort of like being in place during the festival, but it's the arriving and leaving part that's of course gonna be more difficult to manage. So I don't know what they'll have in place for that. But so yeah, first festival in a very long time, and definitely not somebody who likes festivals in any case. And so it's actually good that these restrictions, because part of my problem is standing for such a long time. It always causes discomfort for my back because of my scoliosis. And so when they asked me if I wanted to join, I was like, yeah, but are they like standing tables or are they seated tables? Because standing tables, I would still have said no, but with seated places, I'm like, yes. And so I'm like contrary to everybody else who's like, yeah, but that's not really the festival atmosphere. And I'm like, never mind. I don't need the festival atmosphere. I like the sort of like casual sitting down atmosphere.
En in alle bescheidenheid slapen kan ik heel slecht. Als de nacht je winter in verdriet en er niemand nog je tranen ziet, dan omhels ik jou, ik zing in het lied.
That was so amazing. I have a burnt forehead and nose, so don't mind that too much. But that was so great. I had such a fun time. It's been forever since I went to a festival. So that one in particular, I went to Werchter once. It's kind of like it's one of the big festivals here in Belgium. So almost everybody in their childhood goes to Werchter at least once. I only went once, but it has been a long time. But I got my festival bracelet, so officially one of the cool kids now. But so yeah, it is extremely we had extreme luck with the weather because we knew that potentially would rain, but it was not the case. Like it was dribbling from time to time, but which was actually a good thing because it was extremely hot. We really weren't prepared for warm weather, and so we were like, okay, I'm happy that I had on a t-shirt in any case, so I could just take everything else off and just be like in a t-shirt and jeans. But the jeans, Jesus, that was already too much. You can probably tell that I'm also slightly wet because we wanted to go to a store right before she dropped me off here because I needed food for my cats. And yeah, we did have to run for 50 meters in the rain, and we were like completely drenched in that time. But so the problem is that I was gonna take takeout now, now I feel guilty because it's really raining super hard. Like it's calming down now, but it's done that multiple times. So if I order in, there's a good possibility that this guy is gonna have to come through like pouring rain, which I will then feel super guilty about. You might think, uh-oh, this is the gaming room, but I've actually just been editing. So I edited today's video. I need to film the mid-year check-in video because I still need to bring that out. I'm also still needing to bring out my Q2 stats. I don't think I'll film it this week because I probably won't be coming out with it to next week, so why would I already film it when I can procrastinate on it? So I need to film that one, and then I still have my major goal reading wise for this week, which I'm definitely starting to think is not going to happen. But so I am 60% into She Who Became the Sun, which is basically the book that I'm expecting, that I was hoping to finish this week because that's the one that I'm furthest into. But, I don't know. I don't know whether that's doable because I also do want to allow myself time to game as well this week. So we'll have to see. So I don't actually know whether I talked to you guys about the premise for She Who Became the Sun. So She Who Became the Sun is coming out on the 20th, I think, of this month. And it is a sort of like, it's marketed as Mulan meets Song for Achilles, basically meaning that it's sharing some elements of both of these stories. So when it comes to the Mulan part of the premise, that's definitely like the first thing that we're introduced to, because our protagonist, Zhu Chongta, is not like, she is a girl who has survived a sort of like bandit attack in which both her brother and her father were killed. Now, a fortune teller had kind of foreseen that her brother was destined for greatness and she was destined for nothing. And so she decides to take over her brother's identity in order to become great the way that he was supposed to. And so her story very much centers around gender queerness. There is, at this point in time, in any case, no labels put on anything or anything like that, but a lot of her storyline will also focus on, her wanting to be her brother, her wanting to think and act the way that a man would do, the way that her brother would do, but at the same time, her female feminine side coming true from time to time, her real identity coming true, and her kind of struggling with what her real identity is. Who is she really? Is she the masculine brother side, or is she the female own side, and really looking at the way that she's kind of neither, she's a blend of the two. And so I really like that aspect to it. And then later on, we will also be introducing part of that Song of Achilles marketing line, which I won't go into too much. There are multiple queer characters within this book, so there are multiple ways in which you can even interpret that as well. Now, the story starts off following Zhu Zhongta, but we don't necessarily stick with her the entire time. I kind of first thought it was just going to be all from her point of view, and it really starts out with quite a long sequence from her point of view, but then gradually we're introducing more point of views as we're introduced to more characters and as the plot kind of expands later throughout the book. All right, I finished it. I finished She Who Became the Sun. So I've read about half of this book today. I read like some 46%, I think, today. And I love it. I already pre-ordered the finished copy. It's just like, it talks about so many... It talks in great complexity and nuance about a lot of things, especially gender, for example. And that's just one of the complexities in the stories. There's just a whole lot of moral ambiguity. So our protagonist, for example, is one of those examples. She's one you are rooting for throughout. However, you see early signs of sort of like morally gray decisions, and you keep on rooting for her, but she starts making more and more questionable, horrible decisions at certain points in time, but at the same time you're also still rooting for her because she is a character who has really overcome things. She's really a survivor, and she has great passion, great desire. She knows what she wants in life and she's willing to go out and grab it. However, the further along you get, the more that you have to kind of also question your own morals in rooting for her, because she is going way past just surviving towards the ending of the book. And there's just so much interesting things in there. So yeah, super excited about this one. Really enjoyed it. Really loved, the Chinese cultural elements in here. I'm not as familiar with Mongolian culture, so yeah, of course I knew about, the affinity to horse culture and, the sort of like archery proficiency and things like that. But so I cannot really speak to that. But when it comes to the Chinese culture in there, I just really loved to see certain elements that I'd learned about when I was studying Chinese represented within the storyline, and also like a fine balance that was drawn there between explaining certain elements, like explaining the cultural significance of certain things so that you as a reader, as a Western reader, can catch on, but also leaving a lot of things unexplained, a lot of things that, don't fit in with our culture, or perhaps a Western reader who isn't aware of the cultural significance of certain colors, for example, might read certain passages within this book without necessarily seeing the link to the fact that that is traditional color for example, a wedding. And, that was just interesting for me to read and to see it handled that way. I think it balanced that perfectly. If you are somebody who is aware of all those cultural aspects, it can be kind of, like, it can seem a little bit like too much exposition if all of those things are explained. And so I think she struck a really nice balance with that. But so yeah, that's it for me about this book. But so yeah, I'm gonna round off the vlog here. I managed only one of my 3 goals, so I only managed to finish 1 book this week, which was kind of the goal that set this whole thing in motion. And I am actually going to move these goals over into next week as well. So I'll have a little bit of a graph up here or so with all the things that I did manage to do this week in terms of those goals, what I did manage to read. And then I will be taking over these 5 remaining books into next week, hoping to reduce it down to 4, hoping to make progress in all 5 of them, and hoping to catch up to the Lemmy's read along. I actually think that this is going to be a more difficult week next week to do it, because I have more pages to read in order to achieve the goal of finishing something. I think I'll probably focus on like making progress in all of them and catching up to Lemmy's next week. That's probably the most doable goal, but that also potentially means that at the midway point of this month, I will have only finished 1 book. But so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog. Have a nice day, have a great week, and see you guys for the next one. Bye!